We are Sananda, Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, Saint Germain, Serapis Bey, Hilarion, and Lady Nada. And we overlight you all and we greet you with much love. And we thank you for the co-creation of coming together with us. Because by ourselves, without you, without the embodied awakening ones, we'd have a much harder time being heard, being met, being seen, doing our part of this light work and service work. And it's so much more powerful when the embodied ones and the disembodied ones come together and work together as a team. So we're grateful that in these busy times on the planet, you take the time to take an hour out throughout your busy days and focus on shifting energies in the collective consciousness and then on this planet. It always starts with consciousness. First with your consciousness, and then with the consciousness around you, with the consciousness of others that you're affecting by your thinking, by your feeling, by your actions, and by your choice from moment to moment, whether you choose to be awake or asleep, and whether you choose to be at peace or at war. At peace or at war within yourself, and then within your relationships and connections and neighborhoods and friendships. So you being at peace has an impact. You emanating peace has an impact. And we're here to thank every single one of you for, within your own personal inner work, having made a daily effort towards creating internal stability and peace and balance. It does make a difference. When we read your energy fields, we can see that some of you are thinking, I'm so small, I have so little impact, I'm just this one human being amongst billions. What can I change? What can I do? What difference does it make whether or not I meditate, whether or not I pray, whether or not I sign a petition, whether or not I go to a march? And we're here to tell you it does make a difference. We're here to ask you, please do not give up. You do matter. Every single one of your thoughts, every one of your feelings, everything you say and do does matter and has tremendous impact. You could put your brother at war with himself or at peace with himself. You can take your neighbor out of misery by what you do or what you don't do, by what you say or what you don't say. And what we're asking all of you to do is to create peace within yourselves first, to create peace within a personal conflict you're currently in second, and to create peace within a global conflict third. Some of you are in conflict at the moment, in conflict within yourselves, in conflict with another, and these conflicts are part of a greater conflict. And by resolving these conflicts within your own personal lives, you are resolving conflict in the greater bubble, for lack of a better word. You're resolving conflict in the greater collective consciousness. So you meeting your own inner conflict within yourself or with another is an active piece of light work. You're not suppressing it You're not pushing it down. You're not pushing it into shadow, but you're embracing it in the light by being aware of any conflict you're currently battling within yourselves or within your lives. None of you is exempt from the planetary conflict at the moment, and as microcosm and macrocosm are one, the external conflicts are connected to your own inner conflicts and vice versa. We know that some of you have been suffering greatly from the recent and current conflicts on planet Earth and within this human family. Many of you don't sleep very well at the moment, and that's a good sign. It shows you have compassion. It shows you're connected. It shows you care. It shows you haven't given up on humanity, on yourselves, and on healing and peace being a possibility and an embodied possibility on this planet. At this point, we'd go as far as saying right now, embodied prayer is crucially important on this planet. What do we mean by that? We mean that we ask you to be the physical embodiment of your prayer, day and night, and whenever you can, without being a perfectionist about it. We ask you to be in touch with your prayers, to be in touch with your meditation, and to take them into the world. To us, prayer isn't an abstract concept. It certainly isn't reading a text from a textbook. To us, prayer is a sensation in your heart. To us, prayer might be a tear being shed. To us, prayer might be a moment of silence, a moment of stillness. To us, prayer might be a silent wish. To us, prayer might be you tuning into your most desired possible future for yourselves and for the planet and for humanity, and already sitting in the energy that's going to be there when that best possible future is achieved and lived. To us, prayer might mean longing, a deep, authentic, real longing. You reaching out to the divine and being open and honest and clear and declaring that and nothing less, whatever it is in your case, is what you desire for yourself, for humanity, for life on this planet. So we're here to ask you to be very passionate about your desire for peace and healing on this planet. We're here to ask you to be rather determined, idealistic, optimistic, loving and caring. We're here to ask you to not give up on your dream of everyone having what they need to live a good life. That's the co-creation humanity is currently working on. And as we see it, there are some very wounded souls who at the moment throw in energies of interference. And that's where we come in, and that's where you come in. And that's what we define as the purpose of the light workers, the purpose of the lovers of peace on this planet. We ask you to remember the light spark of their souls that they might have forgotten. Let's elaborate on this in a way that everyone can relate to this. Let's begin to deepen with our message. We're here to meditate with the light and the dark, and with the dance between the shadow and the light. What we witness on this planet is that some people on this planet are currently anchored in a deep wound of destruction and interference, and every group is as strong as their weakest link. So some of these wounded ones need to catch up, and they need some help to catch up, so that they too can strive for love and healing and peace on this planet. So we're here to overlight a meditation that sends light and an invitation specifically to the ones who are dancing in the darkness right now, who are dancing with the shadows right now. We would like to invite you to have a very soft spot within your hearts towards the ones you actually dislike. Is there a politician who you just can't stand? We ask you to be bigger than that and to rise above and beyond that, and to send him light, or her, to send him or her a prayer and a helping hand, something like a telepathic message that says, I'm so sorry, brother or sister, that you have fallen into shadow, into slumber, into absence of consciousness. May I reach out to you and invite you to wake up and remember. May I reach out to you to wake up and remember your light. And that's the very loving version of it. Of course, you can send an assertive energy as well, something along the lines of, hurry up, mate, we've been waiting for ages, just bloody well wake up and remember who you are. We're really running out of patience around here. If that's your honest truth, send that along as well. But overall, we're asking you to include the ones you dislike in your prayer and meditation for peace. To not just include the ones who are the victims, who are suffering, who are victimized and in a place of despair, but to particularly hold the lights for the ones who are required to wake up for something to change. We want to say to all of you that this is a huge opportunity on this planet, a huge opportunity of awakening. With all of this going on, humanity cannot remain asleep for much longer. It's like the water being heated up and heated up and heated up, and eventually it's getting so uncomfortable that the ones who are still asleep are very eager to awaken. So see it as an opportunity. Humanity has an opportunity. Nothing is lost. And you're the lucky ones who are blessed to be alive at this time in history to witness it all firsthand. We would now like to begin with the meditation, and we would like to ask you to begin with yourself and your own inner peace. and to then expand out towards a personal conflict and then towards a global conflict. So we ask you all to close your eyes and to find a comfortable position with a straight spine so your energy can flow naturally, and to relax and to go inwards. And we'd like to ask you all to put aside any personal conflict for an hour, any personal drama, any personal discord, any argument you might have just had before, to put that aside, as in that can wait, that can now take care of itself, and I devote my time, my thoughts, my loving heart, my presence, my focus and my energy towards genuine world peace on this planet. Consciously give yourself permission to put everything else aside and to fully be present, to fully make space in your life, space to be of service, space to focus on something higher than your own personal strive or sorrow. Let everything else just drop away, fall away. You can pick it up again if you wish in 40 minutes. And then open up some space inside of yourself, inside of your heart, as if you were a temple, as if inside of your heart a door could open and you'd enter a temple, and step into that place within yourself that's never been young and that will never be old. Step into that place within yourself that is beyond feeling, emotion, and beyond thinking, thought. Step into what you could call your soul or your spiritual body, or the wisest part within yourself. Step into your greatest empowerment. Step into the place within yourself where you can currently feel the most trust, the good flow of energy. Step into a part of yourself that can be quite driven and energetic, but beyond ego. Perhaps you feel it inside your heart, perhaps inside your belly, perhaps everywhere under your skin, all over your body. Perhaps you feel it above your head. Perhaps you feel it everywhere, or you might not be too sure where it is, but it'll work either way. The main focus is empowerment, love, and a peaceful, still, solid determination. And take a few deep breaths to anchor yourself in that place. And center yourself here. And slow right down within that center. And from this center, you can reach a space beyond linear time. It's a timeless space. Here you can connect with the big you, the big version of you. The big you that doesn't sweat the small stuff. The big you that knows what really matters. The big you that knows his or her purpose and direction. And this big you might have an intuitive sense of humanity's purpose, humanity's direction, and the purpose and higher meaning of any conflict that is currently happening for humanity and on this planet. The big you might have a knowing that all is good as it is now. All is well. Connect with your trust in the process. Connect with your knowing that any conflict will be resolved in due time. Perhaps for a moment you might want to connect with the energy of your future self, your inner great-grandmother or your inner great-grandfather, decades and decades from now. You're this wise, knowledgeable elder. You might receive some wisdom of this future being whispering to you now, whispering from the future, that all will be well and that millions have contributed to all being well. And your future self might take a moment now to thank you for having done your part as well. Being reassured by your future self, you settle even deeper into the present moment. And we suggest that any outer global conflict can best be resolved by settling any inner personal conflict. If your microcosm is at peace, the macrocosm you're part of can find peace, is inspired to find peace. So we are asking you now to bring to the light anything within yourself that might not be at peace. Absolutely anything. Maybe not all at once. You might just find one aspect. Maybe an insecurity. Maybe an aspect of shame. Maybe aspects of anger. And let it rise from the unconscious to the conscious, from the shadow to the light, and begin with yourself. Focus on yourself first, before you focus on anything outside of yourself. And meet that place with love. Maybe you've done something to another that you're not proud of. Maybe there's a constant feeling of unease or stress or sorrow or worry or concern. Maybe there's ongoing anger or depression. Whatever it is, meet it with love. Meet it as a mother or father would meet their beloved child that they've not seen in a long time. Meet it as the divine would meet you. Meet it as the big you meeting the little you. Meet it wholeheartedly. Meet it with compassion. Perhaps it's your inner adult meeting your inner child, a wounded aspect. Maybe as you meet this aspect, you might see how that aspect has been created. Perhaps there's an aggressive part of yourself that ideally you'd never have to love. An aggressive part of yourself that you've never been at peace with. An aggressive part of yourself that you'd want to hide at all cost. And perhaps you can meet the birthplace of that aggressive part, which might have been in your childhood, having been beaten up, having been threatened, having been abused. Perhaps there's another aspect. Perhaps for you it's not aggression. For you it might be a different sensation, a different experience, with a different origin, with a different root. Meet the root of the shadow you might have disliked, and meet it with love and compassion and forgiveness. Can you meditate in a place of accepting absolutely every aspect of yourself without desiring or trying to change anything? Can you sit here at peace with yourself and feel a moment of, I'm okay with my present expression of self, with my past, and with my future self? I've done my best. I'm doing my best. Nobody's perfect. I let myself off the hook. Can you sit here as your own best friend? Not in a place of, once I've changed, I'll then love myself. First I change myself a little bit more, and then when I'm all right, when I'm a bit more perfect, then I'll love myself. No, we ask you to love yourself right here, right now, with all your lumps and bumps on every level of your being. We ask you to not change a thing and be at peace with yourself anyway. No more self-improvement. Simply loving yourself with every imperfection. Would you believe us if we said only the divine is perfect? Would you believe us if we said your imperfections make you just so much more lovable? Would you believe us if we said that the divine can enter you through the gateway of your imperfections? They keep you humble, they keep you real, they are what makes you human. So here you are, imperfect and perfectly lovable at the same time. Can you receive that gift and then extend it out? First of all, just to one person who you might have recently been in conflict with. First to one person who you might think is a total pain in the neck. First to one person. Maybe someone you've been in conflict with lately, and they've been irritating, they've been annoying, they've given you sleepless nights, they've given you uneasy feelings. can you extend that place of you're imperfect and that's okay, you're imperfect and I love you anyway? Can you extend that to them from a place of having given that gift to yourself first? We would not ask you to offer that to them had you not offered it to yourself. We do emphasize that offering that to yourself first is crucially important for everything to remain in balance. We ask you to visualize a ray of light from your heart to theirs, and along that ray of light, visualize peace slowly and steadily journeying towards them, sending this ray of peaceful light towards them, letting them know they're loved and that they're perfect in their imperfections, that they do not have to change in order to be acceptable, that you'll still love them and send love if they choose to change, but that's not a requirement. Perhaps you might pick some of their imperfections that they're not at peace with within themselves and just send love to these imperfections. The greatest gift you can give to another is to love some of their aspects that they are currently struggling with. Love some of their aspects that they are pushing down into shadow, that they are trying to deny, that they are trying to disown, that they themselves want nothing to do with. Love all the parts they hate about themselves. That's a gift to them. And you can do it light-heartedly, without this being an effort, without this being exhausting. Just sit there and relax and be at peace with yourself and love all these parts of yourself that you sometimes thought you should change. And from that place of being perfectly in peace with all your imperfections, send out this gift to the other, that you're just as deeply at peace with their imperfections as well. Shower them with that. There's never too much acceptance to go around. And with your next deep breath, move your attention from them to a greater global affair, to a group of people, perhaps to a large group of people, perhaps to a group of people or to a leader or politician who you haven't had the greatest feelings for, perhaps towards someone who you've been judging, perhaps towards someone who has disappointed you. And you're most welcome to still disagree with their actions. We don't ask you to love or accept their actions, their choices, or what they're doing on this planet, but we're asking you to send light and positive intention towards their soul, towards their energy body. Something like a prayer from your heart. It might not be a verbal prayer, it might just be an energy, an intention. And we ask you to begin with something that might be slightly challenging if you really don't like them. We ask you to extend your own self-acceptance towards them. Something like, I disagree with your actions, but I accept you as part of this creation. I accept you as a soul as a being, you might feel something like, I can see your cry for help in your actions. You might send this energy to a leader, to a politician, to someone who has a lot of power, who has really harmed some people on the planet lately. And we'd like you to send light to their wound. The only one reason why they could have stepped out of the light into the shadow, out of alignment into the shadow, was that they're deeply, deeply wounded. We're here to tell you, to confirm for you, that no one would choose some of the things that are currently chosen on this planet if they were not wounded. So we're asking you to send healing to their wound so they can find the empowerment to make different choices. And it takes great courage and great egolessness to send light and healing and the energy of prayer to someone who you disagree with. And perhaps you can give them the gift of seeing them for who they really are. Who would they be if they weren't acting, deciding, or leading from their wound? Who can they grow into? And see them as that. Hold the vision for their higher self to come through. And we are thanking you for being of service to them and to all the lives that are being touched by their actions and choices. And some of you are not enjoying the energetic contact between yourselves and them. So we ask you now to take a deep breath and let that connection go, and disconnect from them again and wish them well. And now send light from your heart to all the ones who are currently in suffering on the planet with all that's currently taking place. And send light from a place of being the messenger, not in a way that something is taken from you. Send it in an empowering way. Send it in a way that nothing is taken from you, that you're just flooded with light and it flows through you and from your heart into the world. And you're connected to millions of people praying and meditating in their own personal ways with a similar intent. So you might visualize for a moment a light grid all around the planet, very much like the meridian system in the body. And you sit on one acupuncture point right now, sending energy to the world through yourself as if you were an acupuncture needle. And you're connected to everyone on the planet with a similar intent and a similar consciousness. And they're doing a similar thing at different times. And we're here to confirm for you that there is millions of you, everyone in their own way, praying for peace, meditating for peace, sending love to the different wounds that cause disharmony and lack. Perhaps for a moment you might enjoy tuning into sensing how many of you there are. Just sense the strength and power behind all of you. now bring your attention to what it is you truly wish and envision for this planet. What would it be like here if it was up to you? No need to verbalize it. Just feel the vibration, the energy of what it ideally would and could be like to have a lifetime on this planet. For everybody. What's your version of an ideal situation on this planet? And how would you feel if that situation was here now? And we're asking you to drop into that energy. How does it feel to you? When this more ideal version has taken place. And meditate in that energy, anchor it in by knowing that it can be true and that it can be possible. And right now you're anchored in a lot of love. And we ask you to send love to some of the fears that are currently causing the imbalances on this planet. As the fears receive love, they dissolve. And as they dissolve, they cease to rule the planet. Visualize this planet transforming from fear-based consciousness to love-based consciousness. The more you are anchored in love and centered in love, the more you're contributing to that. What if it was as simple as that? What if your part in all of this was as simple as transforming fear-based consciousness to love-based consciousness within yourself, and then be rather contagious with that consciousness? How would your life change if every choice came from love, and if none of your choices came from fear? And how would that make you a messenger for peace? How could that be embodied prayer? What fears have been holding you back from being the best you can be, living of the highest vibration? What fears have kept you small lately? And what fears are you ready to let go of? And while you're at it, why not right here, right now? Perhaps with your next out-breath, you could breathe out one of these fears and breathe in more love. As you breathe out fear and breathe in love, your vibration gets higher, and the impact you've got on the planet gets bigger. One of you in a high vibration can balance thousands in a lower vibration. It's a bigger energetic impact than you realize. Breathing in love and breathing out fear. And we'd like you to now visualize the entire planet. As it releases fear and creates more space for love. And one more time before we complete, we ask you to send an energetic, telepathic invitation to the leaders, to the politicians, to the people with power on this planet, as well as to many, many others, day-to-day people, people of other walks of life, and to invite them to join you in stepping out of shadow and into the light. And we ask you to be balanced in love, to see the beauty of the dance, how some dancers dance the shadow dance and others dance the dance of light. And perhaps it's a bit like a musical, the shadow dancers and the light dancers. It's very artistic, it's very beautiful. And perhaps more and more and more of the shadow dancers change teams, step over to the other side, going, it's so much more fun in the light. I've had enough of dancing in the shadow. Perhaps you could even send them your gratitude for having taken on that role of the shadow dancer. Thank you for playing that role so we could play the other one, the more pleasant one, the more enjoyable one. Thank you for playing that role of the shadow dancer so millions of other ones could play the role of I am the one who's going to awaken within this lifetime. Perhaps you could send them a message, an energetic message of your job is done now. You can wake up now. It's time for you to remember who you are. Thanks for having done that favor to all of us. But you don't need to remain in shadow any longer. Come back to the light. It's much more fun here. And perhaps you could send them a telepathic message reminding them to have compassion with themselves as they wake up. As they wake up and think, what have I done? What have I done to myself? What have I done to some of the members of humanity? Remind them to have compassion with themselves. No judgment, but forgiveness. Remind them to love every part of themselves, just as you have done before. Remind them that there's no need for them to judge themselves. We're here to tell you that some of the ones who are really stuck in the shadow dance, they're simply remaining there because they're scared that it's too late to turn back and go into a different direction. They're too scared of being hated and judged by everybody. Send them a message that you're ready to love them, you're ready to forgive them, you're ready to accept that they had simply temporarily forgotten who they truly are, and that you're celebrating that now they're just about to remember. Be ready for them to wake up tomorrow and remember that they're in truth a different person. Be ready for that change. We're asking you to not be surprised if any or many of them are going to change into a different version of themselves, into a higher vibration of themselves. We're asking you for nothing less but to step into your ability to hold space for change. Know within your hearts that it is possible. Before we're stepping back, we're asking you to make space in your heart to know that a global miracle is possible. We're asking you for nothing less but to keep believing in the shadow dancers. One day they will wake up. That day may be near. We're asking you to send unconditional love to both the shadow dancers and the dancers of the light. With no judgment. And we thank you for being at peace with the dance that's currently occurring on this planet, while holding space for a higher version of it to take place in the near future. We're thanking you for your light. We're thanking you for having been so focused and for having contributed your energy of peace along this grid of light that's being created by millions of people who are meditating for peace and praying for peace at different times in many, many ways on every continent, in every country. We will now begin to step back, and as we know you have busy lives to return to, we would not want to keep you much longer. So we ask you to take a few deep breaths and to take the opportunity to focus back onto your bodies, back onto this present moment, and back on who you are when you're not tuned into planetary events and other people. Come right back to your center, back to your belly button, back to this moment, back to this present breath, and back to knowing that you're an empowered and beautiful being that deserves to be loved for every fiber within your being. We're with you with much love. We thank you for your powerful presence, and we step back now with love until we meet again. Much love. We now leave the channel.